going on, people? ALP 2000 right back at you with another video. Yes, yes, yes. Welcome back. Welcome back to another edition of Leslie Chambers Kaiju Reviews on behalf of Collector Monsters. Okay, Mecha King Ghidorah, calm down. Calm down. We're going to get to you in a few seconds. Let me do the intro. Let me do the proper intro. You know what I'm saying? Whew. Oh, sorry. Let's try it again. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Leslie Chambers Kaiju Reviews on behalf of Collect All Monsters. And do I really need to introduce this guy? You know what I'm saying? Oh my God, this thing is amazing. You know, right off the bat, let me just tell you, this thing is amazing. Delicate? Yes. Really delicate, but this is truly an amazing figure and a truly amazing acquisition for me personally, and I get into all that momentarily. But you already clicked the title, you know exactly who we're covering here. So without further ado, let's dive here first to this awesome resin model kit review. And today we take a look at the Resin Chef resin model kit of Mecha King Ghidorah. Yes, 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 the awesome three-headed cyborg that made his appearance in 1991's Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. And as you can see, I have the beautiful three-headed cyborg resin model kit. Oh my God, this thing is so amazing. Yes, yes, yes. And normally around this time of the video, we get into the packaging before we get into the figure, but I don't have the packaging anymore. But I will show you what the, if you want to call it, you know, the artwork on the box, you know what I'm saying? And this is a picture of what it was, you know, just Mecha King Ghidorah. Not really a picture of the figure itself or the model kit itself, just Mecha King Ghidorah, Resin Chef, some Japanese jargon, stuff like that. You know, nothing really too extravagant with the box, you know. But again, it's not about the box. It is about the awesome, awesome figure. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is the team, Resin Chef, resin model kit of Mecha King Ghidorah 1991. And again, this is amazing. You're going to hear that a lot during the course of this video. Now, this is the backstory. This is somewhat of a long backstory, so bear with me as I take you through this ride, okay? I got this model kit at G-Fest. And prior to G-Fest this year, I had it in my mind that I was going to go for model kits. Because, you know, I've been into the model kit thing as of late. More so this year than maybe X Plus figures, stuff like that. I still collect X Plus figures and other stuff. But really, more so my focus this year alone has been going more so into model kits. And when I made the decision to go to G-Fest this year, I was like, you know what? Because you can get pretty much an X Plus figure online, right? There's really no need, if you're an avid X Plus collector like I am, there's really no need to go to G-Fest to buy a whole bunch of X Plus figures when you can buy them basically online, right? So when you go to G-Fest, my advice for folks who have never been before is when you hit up the awesome dealer's room, and that room is awesome, is to try and go for things that you can't really get in the internet, on the internet or in the aftermarket online and stuff like that. Because there are a lot of stuff that are sold at shows like G-Fest or maybe a Wonderfest or whatever that you can't really get online. So really, you will make it worth your while if you go for stuff that you can't relatively easy get online. So I made it in my mind that when I was going to go to G-Fest to the dealer's room, I was going to hit up Kaiju Modeler, which is an awesome vendor that sells these rare kits from Japan, right? And I knew they were going to be there. And I had it in my mind that I wanted to get Mecha King Ghidorah from Resin Chef, because this technically is my fourth Resin Chef monster kit. Technically I have 7 altogether. I have the 30cm Mothra Larva 1964 from Mothra's appearance in Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. I have that kit. I also have the Mega Ghidorah kit, which is an awesome kit. I can't believe I have that kit in my collection. Of course, the Rodan 1965 30cm kit. I also got 3 Planet X saucers, and they were also made by Resin Chef. So Mecha King Ghidorah makes basically the 7th Resin Chef acquisition I have in my collection. And when I went to G-Fest, I actually met up with the folks behind Kaiju Modeler like a day before the show even happened. And I asked him, like, you know, what do you have? You know, and he said, you know, a couple things. And he made it real apparent that he was going to have Mecha King Ghidorah. So along with the Monster Maker 28 Side by 84 that I did get, I got the Monster Maker 28 guy again. I made it my business to get this kit. And that's how I got my hands on this kit. And I sent it to Mark Sang Yang. So I want to give a huge shout out to him, Mark Sang Yang. You heard his name many times before. He's been my go-to guy when it comes to painting and building these model kits for me as of late. So awesome guy, Mark Sang Yang. And he did a phenomenal job on the coloring and the painting and the building. More on that later. So I sent the kit off to him. And I just got my hands on it. Want to say maybe the first week or second week in October. And that is the backstory about how I got this kit. Now, the Resin Chef Mecha King Ghidorah kit was first released in 2017. And when I did some research on the backstory involving Mecha King Ghidorah here, when you go to the website called kaijukits.com, that's a website that basically has a long list, huge the database of so many model kits that have been made over the years, you know, of different monsters, of different vehicles and stuff like that, the different versions of a certain monster. You know, it's all on that website on kaijukits.com. And so when I got to Mecha King Ghidorah, there's really not too many companies that have tackled this monster for obvious reasons that I'll go into later. But I know that I think Volks did one. I think Shenzhen, did one. I know Yamakama made at least 2 Mecha King Ghidorahs. And of course you have Resin Chef. But I think out of all of them, I think the Resin Chef one is the best one of Mecha King Ghidorah that's out there right now. You know, another company may come along and tackle Mecha King Ghidorah. Maybe, but for right now, I think Resin Chef was the best one of this monster they have ever done. And that made it more of a motivation for me to try and get this kit at G-Fest. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, this is more so of a Grail acquisition. More so in terms of me being a King Ghidorah fan, right? Because I'm a huge King Ghidorah fan. He is my favorite Godzilla villain of all time. Y'all know that. It's not like I'm breaking news here, you know what I'm saying? But I absolutely love this monster. I love King Ghidorah. And I have a substantial amount of King Ghidorah collectibles in my collection. Pretty much that spans through all the eras. I got a few from the Showa period. I have a couple from the Millennium series. Of course, I have the huge Spiral Studios King Ghidorah from the Monsterverse. But aside from Death King Ghidorah or Death Ghidorah that X Plus made, you know, from the Favorite Sculptors line a few years ago, I'm going to talk more about him later too. But aside from him, I never had a Heisei version of King Ghidorah in my collection. Now, I mean, I guess you can technically count the Death Ghidorah because there's a version of Ghidorah. But the way my brain works, I don't look at that version as King Ghidorah. You know what I'm saying? I don't look at him as a version of King Ghidorah. Now, he's a version of Ghidorah. But as far as like King Ghidorah, I have a separate mindset when it comes to him. So, again, even though technically you can't make the argument for Death Ghidorah, in my mind, I wanted the Heisei version of King Ghidorah from the Rebirth of Martha 3 movie, which is an awesome version of King Ghidorah, Grand King Ghidorah, or at least the King Ghidorah from 1991's Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. And so now with this acquisition, I have pretty much every single version of King Ghidorah, at least a representative of King Ghidorah from every major era. Showa, Heisei, Millennium, Monsterverse. You know what I'm saying? So on a personal level, I'm happy, really overjoyed, really, to finally have a version of the Heisei Ghidorah in my collection. Because for so long, I thought that X Plus was going to make one. I'll touch on more on that. You know what? I'm going to go into that now. I'm going to go into that now. Now, because you know me, I'm an X Plus collector, just like I'm sure a lot of you out there are. And a lot of people have been waiting for X Plus to do a version of the Heisei King Ghidorah, whether it's the original King Ghidorah or Mecha King Ghidorah here. Now, I want to take y'all back to Super Festival 79 back in 2018. Yes, we're going on 4 years with this one. And at that show, Super Festival is basically no different than Wonderfest, where, you know, in Japan, where they have these shows, these model kit shows, where model kit companies or Japanese figure companies come together on a display and show what they may have coming. And and X Plus was there. And basically, you might as well call that the King Ghidorah show, because they showcase, or at least they tease, not one, not two, but 3 different versions of King Ghidorah that they were going to bring out. Now, the first 2 eventually came out in 2019, because again, that show happened in 2018. But the 1964 25cm King Ghidorah, both the golden one and the red, white, and blue one, they eventually got released in 2019. But on a display card in a black silhouette, they had teased that they were going to do a version of Mecha King Ghidorah, 25cm Mecha King Ghidorah, right? And I think they also showed a 3D unpainted prototype of Mecha King Ghidorah at Wonderfest the following year in 2019. Even though they first showcased the first ever legendary gigantic 2019 Godzilla, you know, that kind of came out of nowhere. So he kind of overshadowed Mecha King Ghidorah just a little bit. But ever since then, folks have been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for X Plus to finally give us some news involving Mecha King Ghidorah. I think they did. I think they did at like a Summer Wonderfest. I forgot which year it was, where they gave us like an updated picture of Mecha King Ghidorah, but I think they tweaked the design of what was shown at the Wonder Festival show in February of 2019. But ever since then, we have not heard anything about Mecha King Ghidorah. And some folks have given up hope that X Plus will ever make a Mecha King Ghidorah. Some folks are still holding out hope that maybe they will. The reason why I got this figure, quite honestly, even though I'm a huge X Plus supporter and collector, you know that, but I'm getting to the point where I'm getting tired of waiting for X Plus to make a certain monster. And if a model kit is out there of a certain monster that X Plus has not done yet, or at least they have teased that they're going to do, but they have not done that yet, I'm going to go the model kit route, so I at least have that representation of that monster in my collection. Again, I don't fault X Plus, quite frankly, because, again, I'll talk more about that later on towards the tail end of the video, but this figure is really, really delicate, the model kit I'm talking about, so I can only imagine X Plus having these issues on trying to make this version of King Ghidorah on a wider, bigger, grander scale for a lot of people. So I can understand that from a certain extent, but again, I'll go more into that later on towards the tail end of the video. But again, I got tired of waiting for X Plus for bringing out a Mecha King Ghidorah, and that's why I decided to go with the Resin Chef route here. And when I went to G-Fest, because again, like I said, this kit was originally brought out, I want to say 2017, and I think the following year in 2018 at G-Fest, I think Kaiju had like a whole bunch of them. He had like maybe 10 of them. But again, at the time, I wasn't into model kits. You know what I'm saying? I wish I was, because that way I could at least got this kit a long time ago, quite frankly. But I saw so many Mecha King Ghidorahs that he had up for sale, and some people were buying them, some people were not buying them. But at the same time, again, I'm kicking myself in the foot, because I wish I would have got this a long time ago. But better late than never. And again, that is the backstory, the long backstory about how I got this figure. Again, thank you to Ed from Kaiju Modeler, and of course, thank you to Mark Seng for making this happen for me. I really do appreciate it. Now, let's get up close and personal with this guy. Once again, this is the Resin Chef Mecha King Ghidorah resin model kit, and yes, it's resin, but also there are a couple pieces on this figure or this model kit that are vinyl. It's not totally resin, you have some resin parts, you have some vinyl parts, you have some hard plastic parts, so it's not a completely resin kit. There's resin in there, like I said, but you also have a mixture of, like I said, vinyl pieces as well as plastic pieces. And right off the bat, this thing's amazing. The sculpt is awesome. Also, if you do happen to go after this kit, keep in mind, please, I can't stress this enough, please be careful with this thing. This thing is so delicate. From the metal parts, at least the metal tail pieces that he has, the wings, the heads, just really be careful how you handle this thing. This thing is really delicate. If you thought the original version, or at least the 25cm X Plus version of King Ghidorah are delicate, and they are, Mecha King Ghidorah is a lot more delicate, so please keep that in mind. Size-wise, it's a really sizable figure, and he pairs well with a certain other monster that you'll see in size comparisons momentarily. But size-wise, the middle mechanical head is the highest head, and it's like around 14 inches tall. From the top of his wings, it's like 19 inches tall. Space-wise, because his tails are going in opposite directions on the back of his body. So width-wise, he's like maybe 19, 20 inches wide. Again, a sizable figure. I don't recommend putting this in the shelf. Leave them out in the open because, again, these pieces are delicate, like the wingtips are super delicate. The mechanical tail parts are super delicate. Have them out in the open. Don't put them in a shelf. I really don't see why you should do that with the King Ghidorah figure anyway. Maybe with Death Ghidorah and the GMK Ghidorah, because his wings are a lower stance. They're not big and upright like Mecha King Ghidorah, or the short version of King Ghidorah, even the MonsterVerse, right? So you kind of can get away with stuffing not Mecha King Ghidorah, but the GMK Ghidorah or Death Ghidorah, maybe even Kaiju Ghidorah into a shelf. I don't recommend that, but if push comes to shove, if you're running low on space, you can do that. But you can't do that with this version of King Ghidorah, or the Showa version, or the MonsterVerse version. You know what I'm saying? So please keep that in mind. I can't stress enough how delicate this thing is, and it requires kitty gloves, even smaller kitty gloves, to handle this thing, because you don't want anything to break off, quite frankly. So I can't stress that enough. But before we get into the monster itself, it does come with the base, and the base looks awesome. The base is basically like a crumbled version of Shinjuku, because remember, Mecha King Ghidorah did make an appearance to the final version of the film to confront Godzilla, and Godzilla was in the Shinjuku's section of Japan when Mecha King Ghidorah arrived to confront him. So this base is really reminiscent of that, of like the crumbled buildings, the rubble, the charred rubble, whatever. But you can also place King Ghidorah on a certain groove on this base. He has 2 grooves for his feet where you can firmly attach him to the base, and it's good. But the base is great. And again, he can stand without the base. You don't really necessarily need it, quite frankly, but I think it adds to the presentation of the figure itself, which looks awesome. So the base looks great. It's amazing. Mark Seng did a wonderful job of painting the base. It looks great. Now, let's go into the monster itself. Oh my God, Mecha King Ghidorah. This thing is amazing. Oh, the sculpt of his scales on pretty much on the organic parts of his body. Not the cyborg parts or cybernetic parts, but the golden scales, the organic portions of this monster is handled really, really well. The scales, oh my God, they're sculpted really, really well. The toes are sculpted really well. Like I said, I love how the tails are going in opposite direction. That gives that impression of King Ghidorah, or at least Mecha King Ghidorah, constantly moving, even though the suit barely moved in the film. For obvious reasons. But I like how they gave it a more dynamic pose where both his tails are going in opposite directions. I really do enjoy that. The ankle weights, they sculpted really well. Don't really know what purpose they serve, quite frankly. Because you can make the argument, because, they replaced the wings because Godzilla basically blasted a hole through them, at least one of them. You can argue that maybe after him blasting, the middle head of the original King Ghidorah, which is why they replaced it with the mechanical one, you can make the argument that maybe his chest was severely damaged as a result of that as well. So that's why they had to give him a mechanical chest plate, quite frankly. But I don't really know why these ankle weights are on the monster. Don't really know what purpose they serve. Maybe you can tell me in the comment section, even though it's cool looking, but every now and then I think about, why are they there? You know what I'm saying? But still, they sculpted really well. Go up to the main plate. Like I said, the main plate looks great. The mechanical part, the main part of his torso looks really, really great. You have the ports where the Godzilla grab hands or whatever that thing is that they use to grab Godzilla, take him out to sea, to drive him away from the city. The ports here, they look really, really well. Oh, you have the port with Emmy right here in the middle. You know what I'm saying? She's right there in the cockpit right there. Controlling the 3-headed cyborg, and that's sculpted really, really, really well. Had the strings, attaching all 3 heads, looks really, really well. Then you have the actual heads themselves. You have the 2 organic heads, on both sides, the left side and the right side of this figure. Then you have the mechanical head. Just every head is sculpted really well. You have the sharp fins on the organic portions. The real sharp fin-like appendages on the necks. Looks really good. Kind of same thing with the mechanical one, but they're not as sharp at the points. So that looks really, really well. Just the hair sculpts on all 3 Ghidorah heads are amazing. He looks really menacing, with the organic heads. That's one thing I love about that version of King Ghidorah from '91. He looks really, really menacing. Now, my favorite will always be the 64. Nothing will top that, quite frankly. But the way he looks menacing here, with the first version as well as Mecha King Ghidorah here with the two side heads, it looks really, really well. And I also have made the argument. I think that the MonsterVerse King Ghidorah took a page from the 91 Ghidorah on how menacing he looks, and he doesn't have hair on the side of his heads either, like the 91 version of the Ghidorah. He has those horns. So I like to think that the MonsterVerse Ghidorah was really more so inspired by the Heisei version of Ghidorah versus the Showa one in terms of design. So I like that. I love how they did all that with the head sculpts, the shark fins on the back of the neck, on the necks. Looks really, really good. Now let's focus on the mechanical head. Because that was a cool thing to see in the movie. And the mechanical head sculpted really well here, you know what I'm saying, with the green eyes and stuff like that. Looks really good. That little pointy missile thing on the crown of his head. It looks really, really good. Oh my God, this thing is awesome. I'm looking at it right now, as you can see, and I'm just really amazed that this thing is finally here in my possession. But the sculpts on all three Ghidorah's heads, from the head sculpts to the necks, everything, it looks spot on, in my opinion. Then, of course, you have the wings. You have the wings there. I don't know if they're solar panels or whatever, but they had to redesign the wings. They had to refurbish the wings because, again, Godzilla made short work of them in their first battle. So you have, the solar panel, solar panel type of material on the interior of the wing, whereas the outskirts of the wing on the other side is more mechanical, stuff like that. The wing tips looks really, really, really good. Again, please be careful with this thing. I'm afraid me even looking at it wrong will have something falling off or breaking off. I can't stress that enough. But the wing tips, again, they're kind of brittle, but be careful with them. But they look really, really well. Then you go again towards the tail end of his body with the mechanical parts on the tail end of his tails. Don't really know what purpose they serve either. Kind of like the ankle weights. But sculpt-wise, it looks great. From the tail tips to the organic parts of King Ghidorah, whereas his tail, his legs, his feet, the left and right outer heads, whatever. The organic parts look great. Again, the cybernetic parts look great. The ankle weights, the main torso, chest plate, the wings, the mechanical head. Sculpt-wise, this thing is awesome. It is top-notch. Now let's go towards the paint job. And again, I said this many times before, when it comes to a model kit, the two most important things are the sculpt has to be perfect and the paint job has to be perfect. If either one of those things are not right, then you have an off-putting looking type of figure. But I think this is awesome. They combine an awesome sculpt with the awesome painting skills of one Mark Seng. You have an awesome piece in Mecha King Ghidorah. But the way Mark painted the gold on the organic parts of King Ghidorah here, or Mecha King Ghidorah, I should say, looks really good. The cybernetic parts, I actually told Mark, if he could, to make it more of a darker silver color instead of maybe of a lighter silver color. Because there are times when Mecha King Ghidorah fights Godzilla where the mechanical parts have a lighter look. Then there are times where they have a darker look. I prefer to have more so of a darker look, kind of like a more battle damage look. And Mark followed those references to a T. He painted everything really well. Again, the base looks great, whatever. But Mecha King Ghidorah himself, he did a phenomenal job, from the gold of the organic portions of his body, the silver on the cybernetic parts of his body. He did an awesome job. He did an amazing job. And do you ever wonder why he's like one of my go-to guys when it comes to model kits? Look at this thing right here. Look at it. There should be no debate. It should be no mystery why I go to that guy, because he is awesome. He knows exactly what he's doing. And he has done a phenomenal job with Mecha King Ghidorah here. So from the sculpt, from the base to the sculpt to the paint job, 10 out of 10. Perfect, in my opinion. And it's a cool size. You might as well call it a 25 centimeter version. It's not a 30 centimeter version, quite frankly. So with him, again, with the top of his wings being 19 inches tall, even on top of the base, spacious wise, he's like 19 inches wide. The tallest head is like 14 inches tall. So basically, he's like a 25 centimeter version, S-plus version of King Ghidorah, quite frankly. And he will fit perfectly in that line. And I think I have a way of really making that happen. Or at least let me suggest a way on how that can happen. But again, I'll talk more about that later on towards the tail end of the video. But again, this is great. Sculpt-wise, perfect. Paint job, perfect. Again, awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. The Resin Chef Mecha King Ghidorah resin slash vinyl slash plastic model kit. It's all that and then some. It's an amazing kit. Yes, yes, yes. Now, let's do a couple size comparisons. And again, as I mentioned earlier, with this acquisition, this finally completes my King Ghidorah figure acquisition, where I have a representative of King Ghidorah from every major era. Again, you can make the case for Death Ghidorah, but again, I wanted, like I said, a Grand King Ghidorah from Rebirth of Monster 3, or a King Ghidorah version from 1991's Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. Now that I have that, and again, you already know I'm a huge King Ghidorah fan, and I have just a couple other King Ghidorah pieces in my collection. So let's see how King Ghidorah has looked through the awesomeness of the various years that he has appeared in. Yes, yes, yes. In the first ever King Ghidorah size comparison, where I'm going to bring in various versions of different versions of King Ghidorah in my collection right here in the first size comparison. So let's do that, ladies and gentlemen, right now. Oh, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, with the first size comparison. Yes, yes, yes. As a King Ghidorah fan, this makes me so happy. This makes me so happy. It puts a big smile on my face. And oh my God, this is amazing. This is something I've been wanting to accomplish for a long time. A representative from King Ghidorah from every major era. Yes, yes, yes. And of course, the man in that hour right there in the middle, the Resin Chef Mecha King Ghidorah. On the left, we have the 25 centimeter X Plus Rick version of King Ghidorah from 1964. Awesome figure with the red, white, and blue. What supposedly King Ghidorah was going to look like in his original film is awesome. Of course, you already know who the big guy in the back is. The Spiral Studios MonsterVerse King Ghidorah 2019, or Monster Zero 2019. And the last one on the far right, maybe a controversial version of Ghidorah, but you know, I like that version of Ghidorah, even though the movie that he's a part of is like a dumpster fire. But I had to include him in nonetheless. And of course, that is Kaiju Ghidorah from Final Wars, 25 centimeter Kaiju Ghidorah. And again, Showa, Heisei, Millennium, Monsterverse of King Ghidorah, all here in this shot right here. Now, this is all I could put together in one shot because I have other King Ghidorahs. I have a 68. I have Death Ghidorah. I have the GMK Ghidorah. I have the Flying Ghidorah 68. And you already know it's impossible to have all those versions of Ghidorah all in one shot because of the wings and stuff like that. But again, you have a representative again from Ghidorah from each of the major eras. Again, Showa, Heisei, Millennium, Monsterverse, and man, this is awesome. You know, as a King Ghidorah fan, I've been wanting to make this shot happen for a long time, and to finally see it come to fruition, it's a really cool accomplishment. That's why I do consider this model kit a grail on certain levels, because again, it allowed me to complete my Ghidorah collection to a certain extent. You know, I'm sure I will get other Ghidorahs in the future. But as it stands right now, I have every single main version, at least a representative, from every major era of Godzilla, and this is awesome. Now, let's do one more size comparison, and you know what? In Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, Mecha King Ghidorah was not the only monster in that film. He had to fight somebody. So you already know what the last and next size comparison is. So let's bring up the king of the monsters with the Yuji Sakai 1991 Godzilla courtesy of X Plus. Let's see how he looks up against Mecha King Ghidorah here in the last size comparison. So let's go there, ladies and gentlemen, right now. Yes, yes, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what setups are all about. Putting figures together to recreate your favorite monster battles that we have seen in these amazing movies. And for so long, us X Plus collectors, we got the X Plus 1991 Godzilla 3 separate times. You know, we got the Hokkaido landing version. We got the Shinjuku fighting version, or battle version that does battle Mecha King Ghidorah. And we have the Abashiri Fierce Battle version. But we have never had a monster from that same film to oppose Godzilla from X Plus. King Ghidorah, Mecha King Ghidorah, but you know what? We got that now. At least I got that now. to make this happen, again, as a huge fan of Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah 1991, again, this is more than just a figure acquisition. This is a growth acquisition for me. And to make this happen is so, so awesome. And opposing Mecha King Ghidorah here, you know, the Resin Chef Mecha King Ghidorah, I had the Adversary Fierce Battle version of the 1991 Godzilla, courtesy of X Plus and the Yuji Sakai line. As you can see here, they look well together. This is great. This is great. Now, you can pair the Hokkaido version of the 91 Godzilla up against a Mecha King Ghidorah here. You know what I'm saying? Even though technically the Hokkaido version battled the first King Ghidorah. If you want to get too technical, but you know, it doesn't really matter. It's a 91. You can put him up against Mecha King Ghidorah and still have a great, great setup on your hands. Or the Adversary Fierce Battle version that you have here, even though technically that fought the original version of King Ghidorah. Really, you need a Shinjuku one if you want to be so technical with it, quite frankly. I don't have that figure anymore, and quite frankly, I think that's the weakest 91 out of the three. So you can get away with it with either the Hokkaido version or the 91 version, at least the Adversary Fierce Battle version here. And this is great. Seeing Godzilla up against Mecha King Ghidorah is amazing. And you would think with the size differential that Godzilla would be the underdog, but not so much. In fact, the reason why Mecha King Ghidorah was created was to stop a rampaging, evil, destructive Godzilla. So to have this set up here, this is great. As you can see here, again, Mecha King Ghidorah from Resin Chef technically is in the 25 centimeter scale. And as you can see here, he pairs well, almost perfectly with the 91 here. You know what I'm saying? He towers over Godzilla. He's twice as big as Godzilla. So the setup works, but don't get it twisted. Godzilla made short work of him like it ain't nothing in the film. So whether you have the Adversary Fierce Battle version or the Hokkaido version, or if you have the Shinjuku one of the 91 courtesy of X Plus / Yuji Sakai, once you pair him with the Resin Chef Mecha King Ghidorah, you get yourself, in my opinion, the perfect setup of the climatic battle between the two awesome monsters from the 1991 film Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. Yes, yes, yes. This is great. This is great. So this is it. That's it with all the size comparisons. The Ghidorah comparison, which looked awesome. The Godzilla comparison here, which looks even more awesome. So whether Mecha King Ghidorah stands alone or you had them paired with other figures, this is a really cool figure to go after. And if you're a fan of this movie and of this monster, I highly recommend you go after the Resin Chef Mecha King Ghidorah and add that to your collection ASAP. So let's go to the final commentary portion of the video with my final thoughts of the Resin Chef Mecha King Ghidorah resin / vinyl / plastic model kit. So let's do that, ladies and gentlemen, right now. Okay, folks, I'm back. Okay, folks, I'm back with my final thoughts of the Resin Chef resin / vinyl / plastic model kit of Mecha King Ghidorah from Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah 1991. Once again, 10 out of 10. Oh my god, this thing is amazing. It's awesome. It's brilliant, spectacular. The paint job is perfect. The sculpt is perfect. The base to add on to the presentation of the monster is perfect. Oh my god, this thing is so awesome. I had no idea I was going to love this thing as much as I do. Quite frankly, you know, I was happy to get it. I was happy to secure it at G-Fest, you know what I'm saying? But the way Mark painted and built this thing to a T, again, making more of a darker color on the metal parts of the monster. Just everything that I asked Mark to do, he did to a T. He overachieved. He went over beyond what I thought he could do with this model kit, because I knew going in this was going to be not really a tough task for him, but I knew it was going to be challenging because of the delicate parts that this kit has. You know what I'm saying? So I knew that it wasn't going to be a cakewalk for him, but again, he delivered. He over-delivered. He did an amazing, awesome job with this thing. So again, thank you to Ed from Kaiju Modeler, and thank you to Mark Seng for making this happen for me. Again, you have secured me a grail piece in my collection, a piece I've been wanting to add to my collection for a long time. Whether it was Mecha King Ghidorah or the original King Ghidorah from 91, I so wanted a Heisei version of King Ghidorah aside from Death Ghidorah, an official version of King Ghidorah, if you will. And now that I have this really feels an awesome hole in my collection. I feel complete. I really do. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Now, I talked about earlier how X Plus has teased over the years that they were going to do a Mecha King Ghidorah, and they have not come through on that tease thus far at the time of this recording. And so many people have been wanting a Mecha King Ghidorah. Ever since they announced it, they teased it, there have been a lot of people that whenever X Plus announced a new figure, you know what I'm saying, and Mecha King Ghidorah does not show up, you know, there are a lot of people that are happy of the new stuff that's coming, but there is a small contingent of the community that's like, okay, we got this new monster, or this new version of Seng Godzilla, or this new retread version of the legendary Godzilla. We got this new retread version of this monster. Where is Mecha King Ghidorah? And you know what? They're not wrong. They are not wrong for feeling that way, especially after X Plus teased this thing for so long. And again, the reason why I decided to go for the model kit, because again, I'm tired of waiting for X Plus, even though I don't fault them for that. And the reason why I don't fault them for that is because, again, this kit is really, really delicate. Again, if you thought the original version of the 2570 King Ghidorah from X Plus was delicate, and it is, this is even more so delicate because of the mechanical parts that are attached to this figure. They're even more brittle and more delicate, right? And for what I was told, or at least for what I gathered, the reason why it has taken so long, even though I don't know this officially, but from what I gathered from people I talked to, they are kind of in the know with certain things like this. The reason why that Mecha King Ghidorah has not been released from X Plus just yet, because X Plus is trying to make sure that they bring out the best product possible, right? Because they are aware of the fact that Mecha King Ghidorah is a somewhat delicate figure, and I can't fault them for that, because I'd rather them take as much time as they can, years if they had to perfect it, to make a product that's quality, where it's not going to break down upon you in 6 months, versus rushing the product out just to please some people. So I'm actually on the side of X Plus on this one. Even though I see the argument for people who have been wanting this thing for God knows how long, and people have pretty much given up hope that X Plus will ever do one, I see both sides of the argument. And I can't really fault either side. And I can understand on both sides, but at the same time, I can't really fault X Plus for taking as much time as they can to ensure that they're going to produce a quality Mecha King Ghidorah product. I still think they're going to make one at some point. You know, I think it's going to come out of nowhere. It's going to shock a lot of people, even though some people have already was like, you know what, that ship has sailed. I'm not waiting for that, quite frankly. And me buying this, or me saying I'm not waiting for X Plus, is not done from an aggressive place. Quite frankly, it's not like I'm saying, oh my God, X Plus, you're taking too long. It's nothing like that. I do want X Plus to make a Mecha King Ghidorah. If it looks good, I may end up getting it. You know what I'm saying? But again, the reason why, again, I didn't want to wait for it, because I had the opportunity to get one. And again, I'm into model kits now, so I saw a way to add a certain piece in my collection that I've been sorely wanting and sorely been lacking for so long. And I finally got that, you know, acquisition. So that's the reason why I did it. It's not coming from a negative, aggressive place. It's just coming from a place where I wanted to add a certain monster to complete my collection in a certain respect, quite frankly. But I still think X Plus will make one. I still think that they're going to make one. They're going to come through with that, quite frankly. And if they don't do an original sculpt, because again, they teased one back in 2018, then they came out in Wonderfest of 2019 in February and did a 3D prototype unpainted sculpt of it. Then they came back some months later and put out a photograph where they kind of tweaked the design a little bit. So it seemed like they had to go back to the drawing board multiple times just to get the sculpt right. And I can't fault them for that. I really can't. But if somehow, some way, if their original plans to make an original sculpt for Mecha King Ghidorah is falling through, it's not coming through, Resin Chef, enter Resin Chef. You know what I'm saying? They should get their hands on the Resin Chef sculpt and put it in the favorite sculptors line. And guess what? The upcoming flying Hedra from Godzilla vs. Hedra that should be coming out, I want to say this month at the time of recording, late October. Guess what? That's a Resin Chef model kit. That was taken from a Resin Chef model kit. And to my knowledge, Hedra is the first monster that X Plus has done anything as far as Resin Chef. So, why not do Mecha King Ghidorah? Right? If you can't get an original sculpt right, blah, 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 just take the sculpt from Resin Chef. You already got the line of communication established where, you know, you already got Hedra coming. So why not do a Mecha King Ghidorah? Never say never, but again, if X Plus is having an issue with that, that's what I would suggest. You know what I'm saying? But again, that's just me suggesting. I'm not in the know of their business practices of what they're going to do and blah, blah, blah. But I would say for somebody that represents that fan base that wants to see an X Plus Mecha King Ghidorah, that's an option that probably they should go after, but only time will tell. But in the meantime, if you're in my position who wants a Mecha King Ghidorah, go on Resin Chef website or go on Facebook and try to track down somebody who does have one. My great friend Marcellus Winters, he got one not too long ago, so it's not impossible to find these things right now. So, but again, if you're a fan of this monster and if you want to add this to your collection, if you want to pair not only with Godzilla, with other Ghidorahs in your collection, even when you pair it with other X Plus versions of Heisei monsters besides Godzilla, this thing looks great up against them. So whether he looks great up against other monsters, Godzilla himself, or whether he stands alone, you owe it to yourself to go after this piece. Yes, yes, yes. I'm so glad I finally was able to snag this guy, and having my collection has made me a happy King Ghidorah fan. Yes, yes, yes. So that concludes my review of the Resin Chef resin/vinyl/plastic model kit of the awesome three-headed cyborg Mecha King Ghidorah from his epic appearance in the 1991 epic Godzilla film, Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. If you have any questions, type it down in the comment section. Hit me on Facebook via Let's Be Chambers. We'll definitely go from there. Yes, once again, awesome kit. Again, thank you to Ed from Kaiju Modeler. Thank you to Mark Sang Yang. Again, you have provided me with an awesome service and an awesome piece. And you have completed my King Ghidorah collection for the time being. I'm sure I will get more King Ghidorahs in the future, but what I've been after, me wanting to complete to have a Heisei version of King Ghidorah, that search is over because I finally got one. You know what I'm saying? And this is awesome. I'm glad I have it. Sculpt wise is perfect. Paint job wise is perfect. Presentation wise is perfect. This is an awesome piece. Yes, it is. I highly recommend it. Yes, yes, yes. Now, since this is from a Heisei movie and Mecha King Ghidorah is a Heisei monster, if you saw the very first shot of my video where I teased, stay tuned to the very end of the video and you'll see what's coming up next. What's the next video on Leslie Chambers Kaiju Reviews. You know what? We're in the Heisei. We're going to stay with the Heisei. And just stay tuned to the very end of the video. You're going to love what I have planned for y'all in the next video. Yes, yes, yes. So ladies and gentlemen, I finally give to you the Resin Chef resin/vinyl/plastic model kit of the awesome three-headed cyborg from 1991, Mecha King Ghidorah from Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. Yes, yes, yes. So thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. And I will see y'all again on the next figure and movie review. All right? Y'all take it easy.
It was like a monster. Godzilla. I was hoping I'd never hear that name again.
Godzilla's a warning. A warning to every one of us. When mankind falls into conflict with nature, monsters are born. But I'm sure he will come when he gets hungry again.